Okay, so my fabrication tool arsenal is growing, which is an awesome thing. So for Christmas, you can't see it because it's on the wrong side, but I got this Arc Captain plasma cutter. I'm super pumped about this. I asked for it, my wife got it for me. I love it. Happy. I've wanted one of these for a long time. The nice part is, eventually, we'll end up with an Arc Droid, which is like a turns your plasma cutter into a plasma table. It won't work with this one. I need a slightly bigger one to do that. You have to have a high frequency start or whatever on it. This is a good one though for me to learn. It'll do what I need. I got brackets and stuff to cut off of the axles back there for the Suzuki, and this will be nice. But all that aside, I want a cart that holds the MIG welder, this, and then I'm going to leave room to add a TIG welder to it. And I'm going to make it so it holds 2 gas bottles. So basically I can have this cart, roll it right out here, and do everything I need fabrication-wise from it. And like I said, if we get an Arc Droid, the other machine's not really that much bigger, we'll be able to sort of modify this to work, and everything will be right here. Then you can wheel it right out and do everything right on it. So, all that said, I need to build some mounts that hold this nice and securely, that hold the MIG welder. I want some cable management for all the cables and stuff. And then these two actually use the same plug, and I have this extension cord to actually plug it in. So I want to mount this box nicely on the cart, so these can just be plugged in and out to it. And then I can just plug that into the wall and have some cable management to hold that too. So I think what we're going to do is start by put this out of the way here. Let's start by, on a piece of paper, drawing up what we have here versus our machines, and then we'll look up some specs on a TIG welder from Arc Captain, because I kind of know which one I'm looking at, and we'll leave enough room. We won't build that mount, but we'll leave enough room for it. So let's grab some paper. All right, so I got some paper, pencil. So let's start by taking our some simple measurements. So we're going to go 20 inches. And then our width, we'll do a 10. Okay, so what I'm thinking is I'm going to put the machines this way. So the first thing I want is the MIG welder. So I'm going to have the bottles sort of sit here, and the way that they're going to work, I'm not going to get bigger bottles than this. I like the smaller ones. They're easier to manage when you got to fill them. So they're not going to come up above this. So basically, my MIG welder, that's going to be, oops. Yeah, we're going 11 inches wide, outside to outside. So if we sketch this out real quick, there's our 11-inch wide piece. And the Arc Captain is going to be 5.5. And then what I'll do is I'll leave the TIG welder. It'll kind of just hang off of here when we do that mount. So, which that'll be perfect. And we want to be about 18 inches deep. So 4 inches and 4 inches. So that'll be let's say 11 inches. And this will be 18 inches. So basically, we're going to start by building our first box to hold this at 18 and 11. Yeah, 18 and 11. So, let's draw a box out here so I don't get retarded when I do this. So we're going to go 18 inches and 11 inches. And then the other box we're going to build for the Arc Captain. Let's do this here. Let's go 5 3/4 so it's sitting in there really well. And we'll do 5 3/4 by 18. So we're going exactly the same size. So let's do 18 and 5 3/4. So I'll show you what I got going on back here now. Alright, so I've got some bar stock here, some angle stock, little stuff. Not enough. I'm probably going to have to buy another piece, but I might have some hiding down there in my scrap pile. So I'm going to take these two saws, get them out of the way, and we'll get the big saw up here. And then we'll lay this cuts out. Now we'll grab our steel here. So we're going to make a box, basically. The first box we're going to cut an 18 inch. So we're going to start with a I don't know, inside, outside miter, whatever. So we're going to set this to a 45. This thing cuts really true. So yes, to answer your question, I do trust it. Other than the fact that I didn't bother to cut it right. Get this lined up just right here. I like to make it look nice. Probably too nice for what we're building, but whatever. We're gonna go right there. Perfect. Clamp that. Let's grab some eye protection. This thing likes to take your offcuts and throw them. Alrighty. We're going 18. On to the opposite miter now. So we're going to spin this. I need a bigger shop for Christmas. If anybody's looking for me, I'll take a 60 by 100 pole building. Alrighty, 18 inches is what I said. Yeah, 18. Right here. Right there. So that's going to come right there. The first bar. Perfect 45s on this thing too. Alright. What we've got here, this is just laid out for the one for the TIG welder, or for the plasma cutter. But yeah, we'll make these boxes, trays to sit them in. I'll have to get another stick of this because I need one more long one, and then these pieces. So that's where we're at for tonight. We'll call it quits here and pick it up again tomorrow when I get some more material. We're gonna keep working on this welding cart. I went and got some metal today. Right here. Another piece of that, and then I got this, which I'll show you. That's gonna be to build the bottle mount. And the little angle piece to give this some angle where there's the welder and stuff sits in. And then got all the JK parts brought in here. And I'll show the shop in another video, but I'm starting to get it cleaned up. I'm really proud of that. So let's get our chop saw set back up and finish cutting these pieces out so we can keep rolling on this welding cart. Well, got them all cut out. That's what we're looking at. So now we'd bring them out here normally and throw them right on my welding table, get them tacked up, and move on to the next step. But you see my welding table's got a little lean to it. So Harbor Freight, well, Vevor, sorry. The little leg broke off. But this isn't Vevor's fault. I'm going to be really honest. It's not Vevor's fault. That's my fault. See, when I was building my loft here, this beam, well, it's 3-ply, it's 2x10s, or 2x10s, and then plywood. Sorry, going through it. I decided to use my orange jack for the lift, the pole jacks, and put it on top of that welding table to hold this, and it failed. So I'm gonna fix the welding table, get that fixed up nice, and then we'll get those jigged up in there and welded, and then we'll move on to how we're gonna mount everything on here. Figure out a bottle holder, and I need some sort of toolbox or something here. It needs something, I think. Not sure. And it needs a tray down here, so I'll figure that out next here. But for right now, we'll keep going on the next iteration. Getting back on this welding table, or the welding cart that we're making, I gotta fix the welding table before I can weld any more, or before I can really do anything with this cart. I broke this off, so I'm gonna grind this down and I'll weld this back on. I mean, it's just some, I don't know, little cheesy tack welds, so we'll clean that up, get them welded on better, and I really should go around and clean the rest of these up, but I'm not going to. So I'm just not that concerned. The other thing I'm going to do while I have it there is I'm going to flip these the other way. I didn't think about it when I put it together, but I want them the other way so I can put something in here as like a tray or a table, and put tools and stuff in here and not have them fall through. So I'm going to do that while I have it apart, and then go ahead and zip out a piece of metal to do this yet too. So that's done. And then put that in here and secure it somehow. So we have a nice little tray here, and then put this thing back together, and then we'll start on actual brackets and stuff for the welding cart. Got the this all cleaned up here and ready to tack in. So got the welder set up, so I'll go ahead and spot that, or well, I'm going to run a pretty good bead top and bottom and then work on flipping these mounts. Okay, so we got those brackets flipped and I got that welded up. Good. So I'm going to let that cool for a little black paint on that thing yet. Making sure my microphone's on here. So it's like my control. Anyways, now you should be able to hear me good. Got that welded on and letting that cool. We'll hit some black paint on that. I'm going to measure this table area here and get that zipped out of some sheet metal I got over there, and then put that in once we get the wheel on it, and should be able to go back together with it then. Watching the desert race for King of the Hammers, so that gives you some timeline as to what day this is. Gonna start assembling these now. These are the trays that these are gonna sit in. I just finished sanding them up, so that one will hold the plasma, and we'll tack them and just check them. And then this one will hold the MIG. Same thing. I'm gonna get them on here, tack them, and just sort of check them to make sure they're good. And then I'll burn them in. So let me get some fixtures on here to hold everything real good, and I'll get them tacked in. That's gonna bolt on then to this flange here. Kind of what we're going for. I got the beams all welded up and taken care of, so they look nice. Just be going to a Korean tomorrow, but I should be able to get this whole cart finished up. Hopefully. I don't have a ton left to do on it. So. Alright, gonna start on this thing again. So I've got this mocked up. This is, I'm gonna have to change my design a little bit. Basically this will sit on the welding cart here, and this will sit like this. So what's that's gonna mean? Actually, it'll be like this. Okay. I'm gonna drill my bolt holes to bolt onto the top, so this will bolt on and this will angle it. So the MIG welder is gonna be cantilevered out over something like that. So technically, this side's not supported. I've got a little bit of this strap. I'm gonna just extend a little support out, and do that. And then I'll have the plasma about a ½ inch in between them. That'll sit here. And then I'm leaving room for a TIG welder assembly here. And I'm leaving a little bit of extra room in case I get a new plasma and it's a little wider. So that's what this whole mock-up's gonna look like. So now the next thing really is to weld this piece of strap onto that. So I have a nice wide bolt surface. Get all that welded on, ground down real nice. And then to kind of extend a piece, cut this out and extend a little piece out to catch that. So I'm going to work on that next. Clean everything, and then I'll tack all this on here and worry about getting it mounted on that cart. And then I got to build a bottle holder. So let's get this done next. Alright, so here's what we got. I welded this up, grinded it all off so it looks nice. That's going to cool for a minute. I'm going to take some of my strap, cut a piece of my strap up then, and get that lengthened so it works. So I'll work on that right now. So getting ready to weld this. I got this tacked up. This thing bent like a banana, but I'll get it straightened out when I bolt it on there. So I'm going to tack it, pull the clamps off, and then I'll weld that inside, weld the top, and then grind it down. I got that on, welded, grinded down. That's as good as I'm gonna get it for now. Um, that's got to cool. So this one, I'm just gonna check to make sure I have this all laid out correctly, and then this one I'm gonna mark and drill some holes on it to bolt it onto this table, and then I'll get that bolted on. Once that cools, I'll drill and mark those. I'll mark and drill those holes, and bolt that on, and then I'll work on getting our cutter and our welders and stuff all mocked up on there. So that's what we're gonna move on to for right now. Okay, got my holes marked here. Gonna go take them over to the drill press and drill them out.
Let's be honest, you can be driving at sort of like 9.5
right here. Get them drilled out now. Well, that's what we got. Rip them holes out real quick. That thing works wonderfully for drilling holes. Way better than by hand. So come over here.
We've been watching it loop now for around about 3 or 4 minutes, and he has not dropped below 100 mile an hour. And he's climbing again now, 124, 125, 126, 127.
And perfect. Perfect. So, how hot's this thing? Oh, it's nice and cool now. So, that guy's gonna sit right there, like that. Obviously, the MIG welder is going to sit out here on this end then. Bottle holder will be over here. So, let me mark these guys, and I'll get those holes drilled yet. I get these drilled, and then we'll bolt all this down. Alright, got them marked. Come back in here to the drill press, and get these hammered out. Get that bit really crooked. It was really crooked. There we go. Way better. Okay, all the holes are drilled. Now I'll go find some bolts and bolt this whole thing together now. Wonderful. So I got this all bolted on there now, real nice and tight. So I already got this cleaned up and ground down. I'm just gonna clean the top up, clean this rail up with the grinder. And then I'll start figuring out how I want my MIG welder to sit here on this one first. And then we'll go space it for the TIG. I'm sorry, for the plasma. And we're not going to put anything over this area right now for the TIG welder because we don't have that yet. So let's get this cleaned up and get going on that. Alright, so I have this lined up and sort of centered up here perfect. So I'm going to tack this, straighten it out, tack everything in, and then I'll finish weld it once I get the other piece on too. Alright, I got that side tacked on. So now, get this side tacked. We gotta clean this up yet, but I want to leave about a 1/2 inch spacing between them. This one's got like a little pressure valve we want to kind of be able to read. So I think that'll work. Leave about a 1/2 inch between them. I might just come over an inch and leave that, because I was trying to leave enough room for a pretty big TIG welder if I get it, which I think I'm good. So let me mark this, get this cleaned up here, keep going. Alright, so I got these tacked on pretty good. So now I really need to pull this plate off and finish weld all them over there on the engine table, or on the welding table, and then probably let these cool, and then start figuring out a bottle mount on this side. So it's almost 3 though, and we've got my father-in-law's birthday today. So I'll probably put another 20-30 minutes in on this, and then I'll go get cleaned up. Look at that. Ready to weld, so let's get that finished up. And then I think we'll start sketching up a bottle mount. Alright, so let's take some measurements now. It's all welded up. Let this cool. Let's go take some measurements on what we need for a bottle mount. Figure out how to make a base, because what I want to be able to do is hold 2 of these same size bottles on here. I don't know. I think you need a different gas blend for a TIG welder, but either way, it'd be nice to have a second bottle anyways. So 2 bottles on that new welding cart would be really nice. So figure out a mount for that. Alright, so I just took some measurements and kind of sketched this out real quick. The bottle is about an 8-inch round cylinder. I think it's technically like 7 or 7.5, but if I do an 8-inch, basically if I take a piece of angle, and that comes in, I'll do a piece of 1.5-inch angle. So it's got an 1.5-inch lip to sit on, and I do it so that way I'm 8 inches. And I put 2 of them together. My drawing skills are getting rough on this. Put 2 of them together. We'll measure 16 inches by 8 inches. So I'll mount it on the bottom of my cart. Out 8 over 16. Bottom of my cart measures 19. So we'll have an 1.5 inch in on either side to keep it centered. And when I do it, I'm going to angle the bottom up so the cylinders sit in there on like an angle and follow the angle of that cart that goes up. I think that'll look nice, and then I can strap it around there really nice and secure. I'll make some sort of probably collar that goes around them, and then a chain as well. I kind of think that'll be like a really nice way to have it work. But I'm going to save this up here for tonight, and we'll pick back up probably tomorrow, probably tomorrow, with where we're at with these. So let's get started on this thing again. I measured this bottle. It's I'll show you here. It's like a 6-inch bottle.
From 5:30 to 6:30, the 4 races quest for an answer. At 6:45, it's the Ultra 4 Australian movie premiere. And then at 8 p.m.
So if we figure that. So it might be a little bit thicker than 6. So anyways, I think what I'm going to do, is build an 8-inch box. Although I could probably get away with a 7. May fit it a little bit better. Yeah. let's build a 7. Let's build 2 7-inch boxes. That way they're not too tight. So, grab my gloves here. I was uploading some videos. Oh, I got the Arc Captain. Hang on. Setting on there, looking good. Look at that. I'm excited to use that thing. Anyways, I was watching some videos qualifying, the UTV qualifying for King of the Hammers. So, pretty good watch if anybody's looking for anything to do. So, let's go ahead and lay this out. I got a bunch of random angle here, so I'm going to use this up. So, let me grab my marker. We'll get this laid out here and start cutting it. So I got these ripped out here, 4 of them. Work on my bottle. I'd hate to go through all this work and then have them not fit. So, let's get that going here. I'd left this on here to cool. It's good now. So, throw this over here. Bring our welder over here.
Licensed free axles to licensed wheels and tires. Your possibilities of creating your dream off-road machine are endless.
All right.
Products, the official RC of King of the Hammers.
So here's what we got.
The pursuit of off-road exploration, confidence is everything. That's why we've built Onyx Off-Road to discover trails and navigate off-grid. Everything from guided trail maps to comprehensive offline accessibility and custom trip building. Ensure you're always on the right path. Join the community.
I gotta clean that weld up and clean up where I'm gonna go. So I'm gonna hit that real quick with a grinder. I'll get some magnets thrown on here and we'll tack it in. So I don't have to wrestle with these. Alright, I actually shot this once already, but I realized my microphone died. So, this is the 7-inch one. I ripped this one out to 7 1/4. So it's gonna hang just slightly past, and that's what I'll use for my big bottle. So I'm gonna get these ground down and tacked all in place, check everything again, and then just weld it. But I'm gonna do that tomorrow because it's 8 and I'm only allowed down here until 8. So that'll be what we're doing for tonight. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow.
All right, it's been a couple days. I'm getting sick. So I got this one tacked. I'm gonna clean this guy up and get this tacked, and then weld the whole thing up. We'll tack them and check them, and then we'll tack them together and then weld it all up. So let's get started on that. All right, I got these welded up. Let them cool, and then I'll grind them all nice, and then fit them up together and go from there. So let these cool for a minute, and then we'll grind them up and try to fit them together. All right, so I got these all ground down and cleaned up, looking good. Welded on the inside. Don't worry about cleaning this up. But the outsides are all nice. So now I'll put them together here. I gotta get them sanded down so I can weld them. But run a bead down through here, here, here. Flip it and do the same thing on the other side. And then we'll clean all this up and get ready to figure out how we're gonna mount it on our cart. So that's where we're at.
So we're finally getting back on this welding cart. I got it set up here on the stand. This is the bottle holder all put together and finished. Looks good. So what I need to do is mount this at the exact same angle that cart is, which we can do, which we're gonna do. So basically, I think what I'm gonna do is try to get this thing over here as far as I can and lock it so it doesn't roll off. These locks are a little tight. These are crazy tight. Okay. One more here. Okay. So I got them locked, and then I'll shim this to the right angle. So basically what we'll do is grab our little Klein angle finder here. And we are going for 6.7 degrees. So if I go ahead and stick that on there, see if I can film this here. There. So if I put this on here at 6.7, we're real close to it. You know, that'll be what we need. So I'm gonna get a Sharpie, measure my offsets, put some marks on here so I can get this thing laid out exactly right. And then I'll use that angle finder and get it set up. All right, you look here, we are at about 6.4, tops at 1.3. If I come over here to my cart, that's at a perfect 0 right now, 6.8. So I think that needs to bump up. I mean, I think let's bump this up. Well, that's 7.6 right there. What's this one say? 6.4. So we're a little off on that side. Might just be this. Bump that up a little bit, maybe. 7.5, 6.4. I don't quite know how we got the angle a little bit off there, but either way, I think that's probably kind of where we're going for. So I'm going to grab the welder, and we'll try to get that tacked in. And then figure out how I want to brace the bottom so it doesn't fold over on itself. Now we got it all tacked in. It's held in there pretty good. So I'm gonna weld about halfway up here. I'm going to try to get some stock or something to stick in there from the bottom, I think. We'll see what it looks like. I'm going to weld the top all the way across, then I'll flip it and weld the other side. I think that should probably support the bottles, to be honest, but let me get this welded and then we'll see how it looks. All right, got it all welded. Starting to run out of some gas. So I'm going to let that cool, and then tomorrow when I come down here, I'm going to cut these wheels off. I'll finish weld that. I'm going to put bigger wheels on. I got some, well, I have some of these, and I think I'm going to use them. They're just going to be a little bit better suited. They're a little taller, if you see there. Roll over some stuff better in the shop. So, and I can bolt them on, which will be a lot nicer. So I got 4 of these guys up there. So I'm going to go ahead and use them then. So I'm going to cut these off tomorrow, finish weld that. And then, honestly, probably set that on here and weld that onto here yet. So it's all one big thing, so I'll clean that up. Get it all welded on. Make it one big cart. And then probably just bolt the wheels on after I'm done painting. Drill my holes and everything. But really, I got to do a piece of sheet metal for the bottom of this. And I want to get a toolbox and some cables. So once I get I'll get the wheels probably just bolted up and I can take them off. So once I get this finished, well, I'll try to get the wheels on tomorrow and that mounted to this. And then really, well, actually, I guess probably want to put that piece of metal in first. I don't know. I have to figure out how I want to do that. I probably want to put that piece of metal in first. So I'll probably get the wheels cut off, piece of metal in, tack the piece of metal the whole way around, so that's done. Then set that in here and tack that in. Drill my wheels through. And then start mocking up my cable setup and everything for it. So, but yeah, it's turning out nice. I can't wait till it's done. I could really use it. This is all cooled down now. So I'm gonna cut these wheels off, these old wheels, throw them away. They're a little too tiny anyways for what we're trying to do with it. So I'm gonna get these plates zipped off and then clean up the bottom here and then finish weld our bottle rack on both sides here. And then I think probably flip the thing over and measure for this plate, this steel that we're going to put here on the bottom. And it may be kind of flexy here in the middle. I may have to strap it, but we'll see. So let's get cutting. Okay, I got all the wheels cut off. I'm going to use the flap disc now and grind off all the little nubs that are left behind. And then I'm going to weld here, and then finish this up, and then I'll flap disc all that off nice, and then move on to the other part of the cart. Alright, so I got it all flap disced in. I got all these corners cut down. They're real nice. And then I went ahead and hit these. I was knocking all this down nice, and then my grinder died. So I'm going to fill in some of where this pitting is. Fill these holes in here, and then when my grinder charges back up, I'll knock all this down. I went through batteries. I'm going to hit all these seams and hit this. And then let this cool, and then probably tomorrow morning I'll grind these down in. So let's get this welded, and then we can start letting it cool. Okay. It's all welded. It's a little hot, but welded. Kind of fixed some of that. All welded up on the corners on all of them. So now we'll just let it cool. Let my grinder charge, and then we'll hit all this tomorrow real good. And I'm going to grab some cardboard and try to trace out a pattern for this. Or actually, I might just take some measurements. This should be pretty square. So assuming it is, I'll probably cut the plate out for here then. All right, I got that heavy piece of sheet metal laid out here. So I'm going to grab my framing square and draw up a box here to cut out. So, that thing was heavy. Okay, got it drawn out, and I've started cutting it out here. My only issue with this little cutter is that when it gets hot, it won't cut anymore. So you gotta let it cool. And this would have been a great thing to use the plasma cutter for, but I didn't feel like trying to mess with it. I have this thing and it rips it out real quick. It's 8:03. I promised my wife I'd be up at 8, so I'm late already. Probably in the doghouse, but whatever. I gotta go take the trash out and then go up. So if I can sneak down here tomorrow before soccer, I'm gonna zip that out and we'll get that fitted into here. Make sure it fits. And then I don't know if we'll get this ground tomorrow or Thursday, but I don't know. I'd like to get this thing wrapped up, so gotta get working on it. Well, here's a welding cart update. I was working on this some, getting all these corners ground down. Got that sheet there fitted really nice to go inside of here. And I was working on grinding these welds on the backside down here to make these look nice. And my batteries died, both of them. So wait for them to charge, and then I'll hit that again. Update on the welding cart. I got everything ground down, cleaned up. I just gotta clean up this side jet here with the grinder. And I'm gonna drop the plate right here in. Well, I gotta clean the corners up yet in here a little bit with the little air file. And then I'm gonna drop this plate in here and run a bead around all that to hold it in there real nice, top and bottom. And then let that cool, and then I'll mark my holes for my wheels. Go ahead and put my wheels in. They are gonna be these guys right here. So get the holes marked for them then, and get them put in, and then pretty much the base is done. And we're just gonna make some little tabs like this to hang hoses and stuff off of, a little mount to put our plug on, so we're not, you know, screwing with all these plugs. So we'll start messing with that then as soon as I get these wheels put on here. Okay, got the holes drilled, and I literally ran out of welding wire. So this thing I do want to weld pretty much the whole thing, so it's not all loose and rattly. That'll drive me nuts. So basically these holes are drilled though, and they're gonna line up nice. So I'm going to wait till my wife gets home here and then run out and get some, not welding wire, Jesus, I ran out of welding gas. So I'm gonna wait till my wife gets home, run up here and get some welding gas, and then I'll wrap this up. So for now that can just sit right here on this cart, I guess. I'm going to torque these. I'm gonna get back on this trailer. I got some stuff to do on that. I'll put it that way. All right, I'm down here getting high from paint fumes, but I'm painting the welding cart. Omaha orange. It's almost done. I gotta do a second coat on this. Maybe a third. I didn't primer it, and I probably should have, but whatever. It's just gonna get all dirty. So, and then the top is painted gray, and the little hooks we made are painted gray. So that dries, I'll put a second coat on that, and then start assembling it probably tomorrow. So good. If not, well, for now I'm going to work on some other little projects. You can see the Saturn's in the shop, so we're going to get started on that here then too. All right, I've painted myself orange a little bit, but they're painted, looking good. So I'm gonna let these dry tonight. Tomorrow I'll come down here and get them all together. Get this thing together, set up, all my cords and bottles and everything moved over to it. And yeah, check that project off of my list finally. All right, painted. Look at that. I like orange. That's what I do. All my tools I build in orange. So I'm starting to put these wheels on. Get these on, get them bolted up. And swap everything over. Get this cart crossed off the list of stuff to do. Got all these guys here. So, get these on. And then tighten them up and get this down on the ground. All right, there it is. It's all put together. Got the plasma cutter, MIG welder, and then this is for the TIG welder when we get that. Got 2 bottle hookups, a MIG bottle hookup, and the TIG. We got all these little hooks to hang our probes and stuff on. It's gonna be sweet. So let's grab the plasma cutter. We'll go ahead and get that on here. And then I'll grab the MIG, get that transferred over. That's where we're at so far. Moved a bunch of stuff here. Gonna move that tank now. But I like it. It's looking good. You know, for all these years I've been working off of this little cart. It's nice. I can't wait to get a TIG welder on here yet. Have all 3 machines. You got 1 extension plug to plug in over there. It'll be so nice. Be able to wheel this thing. And this thing's on 4 casters. Whereas this thing had these big wheels and was real hard to roll around. That thing should just go wherever I need it to be. So I'm excited. But yeah, so plus I'm really excited to use this thing. I'm gonna hopefully have that running in time to cut all the brackets off of that axle. So Dustin got to use his hypotherm to gouge out all the brackets off of his Dana 44 he just got. So, gonna try to show him up with the Arc Captain. So, all right, let me get this tank moved over here and try to get finished up. There it is, fully finished and hopefully ready to rock and roll. I'm pumped. Yeah, it's all good. So I'm gonna go put it away for now. I got all my wires back here, zip tied up, power cords and all that. Yep. So, gloves, jacket, welding helmet, cap, everything fits on there so much nicer. So, yep, yes sir. I gotta get this plasma cutter put together. So we'll start screwing with that then. It's got air fittings and things like that down here. I gotta get that all figured out, put on. So I'll probably take that down here and, I don't know, attach it somewhere so I can plug an air fitting into it. You know, but I don't know, for right now, I'm happy with it. I'm real happy. So I'm gonna roll it over here, put it away. Call that a night.